Hello, this is Marcia Schneider with the League of Women Voters of Portland, and you are watching the Video Voters Guide or listening to our podcast. We are here today to talk with candidates running in the November 5th, 2024 general election. We are grateful for the support of the Carol and Velma Sailing Foundation, the League of Women Voters of Portland Education Fund, the Weiss Foundation, and our media partner, Metro East Community Media. With me is Jamie Dunphy running for Portland City Councilor District 1, which covers generally Portland east of I-205. Welcome, Jamie Dunphy. Please tell us a little about yourself and why you are running for this office.
Excellent. Well, thank you for having me. I am Jamie Dunphy. I'm a father and a husband. I'm a musician and an artist and a longtime public servant. I've been in public service in this community for over 20 years. I worked in the David Douglas School District as a behavioral specialist doing gang prevention in a middle school, and I wanted to be a teacher. But I saw how broken that system really was, and I wasn't brave enough to be a teacher. And so I spent uh, the next 10 years of my life working in public policy for some of our best elected officials. I spent 5 years working for U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley and 5 years working for Portland City Commissioner Nick Fish. And when Nick Fish passed away from stomach cancer in 2020, I left public service and I've spent the last 4 years working for the American Cancer Society. But I think that Portland is at an opportunity right here to have a revolution in both service delivery and community representation. And I think that I have some skills that would be really helpful in ensuring that we fulfill the needs of the voters and the wishes of what this new system is supposed to look like. We have a long track record in this community of voting for really progressive, forward-looking, interesting pieces of legislation, but falling short on implementation. And I'm worried that if we elect 12 elected city council members who don't know how to pass legislation and do the hard work, that we risk losing the will of the voters and that people will think that we simply can't do hard things. Despite my best art instincts, I think that I can actually really be helpful. And so I'm running for Portland City Council District 1.
What are your ideas for working productively with the other council members from your district?
One of the beautiful things about this election so far is that truly we're not competing with each other as candidates. There are over 90 candidates running for city council. I've met over 60 of them. I believe that building those relationships early and finding compromise and finding ways that you can collaborate in the future starts now. If we as candidates hadn't started developing relationships with each other until January, that's too much of a learning curve. So I've started intentionally learning about these folks who are going to be our city council in the future. Um, this new system of government inherently benefits people who are collaborative and coalition builders. I've spent most of my career recognizing that you're only as strong as the people around you and learning how to get those coalitions to work towards a common goal. That is going to be the entire job of working on the city council. And I think that folks who are especially adept at that will also be really successful at working across types of government, working with the county, with Metro, with the state and the feds on some of the really big issues that we have. I think that collaboration is the key to what we're going to be doing. Even if we disagree, we have to find ways to meaningfully count to 7 votes on the city council and to really start meaningfully delivering for the people of our community, especially delivering meaningful results for people in East Portland who simply have never had the kind of representation. We need to get to work and start filling potholes and cleaning up public spaces and making it feel like this is a place that people can actually be proud to live in. I'm proud to live in this community and I'm ready to get to work on that. And I'm ready to bring along the rest of the community with me.
You are listening to the Video Voters Guide interview and podcast of the 2024 general election with Jamie Dunphy, who is running for Portland City Councilor District 1. So, what, if any, actions would you consider taking to address the current concerns related to the critical energy infrastructure hub on the Willamette River?
Well, let me just say, first and foremost, climate change is real, it is human caused, and it is the existential question of our time. Fossil fuels contribute an enormous amount towards that climate change. And we should not be, as a region, investing in infrastructure that is going to be providing the kinds of fuels that we won't need if we are successful in 10, 20, and 30 years. I think that the role of the city council is to use zoning and permitting in order to try and intentionally create the community that we need for the next 100 years. You don't build a building for only 10 years. You don't build infrastructure for only short periods of time. You're building it for the long time. So what the city's priority should be is transitioning away from that infrastructure. We know that that is a liquefaction zone. We know that an earthquake will hit someday, and we know that that area of the river is just going straight into or the river bank is going into the river. So the city should not be doing anything that invests in the long-term infrastructure of that facility. And we should look at serious ways to try and move that infrastructure somewhere else or encourage that the usage of those types of things to be dispersed to different areas that we know are actually safe. It is a absolute crisis in waiting. It is going to be dangerous, and there's a lot that the city council can do.
Are you satisfied with the performance of the Joint Office of Homeless Services? If not, what changes would you support? Please explain your answer.
I do believe that the Joint Office of Homeless Services is the model that we need to have going forward. That collaboration between county and city needs to continue. But no, I'm not satisfied with the performance of the Joint Office. I know that there are incredible, dedicated workers who are in that office trying desperately to move the ball, but I'm not clear on what a common definition of success is for that office right now. I don't believe that the regional governments, including the cities and the surrounding metro, or any of the county governments, metro government itself, or the state or feds, have any common definition of success. And I think that that is the failure right now. And I think it's a failure of leadership. I think that we need to have a regional common definition of success for what that office should be doing. It needs to have benchmarks, it needs to have data, and it needs to have a very clear expectation of who is on first and who is doing what. There are things that only the city can do. There are things that only the county can do. But we know what those things are, and we can write them on paper and work with some urgency towards a common definition of what that success looks like. It doesn't feel like there's any urgency in the general response. My old boss, Nick Fish, used to say that if the president called and said that 4,000 Haitian refugees were coming to Portland, we would find a way to get them shelter and food and health care. But we don't have that same urgency towards our own neighbors who are sleeping on the streets.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie Dunphy. This concludes our Video Voters Guide and podcast interview, the League of Women Voters of Portland, of Jamie Dunphy running for Portland City Council, District 1. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. Be sure to inform yourself about the candidates and exercise your right to vote. Thank you for your interest.